Hey guys, it's Nine Some Lego Maniac with another custom minifigure video, and for this video, it's very unique because this has been a project for a very long time. I'm talking about I think this is like 2 years, and I finished this that's sometime in 2019, and I just never made a video on it because I just lacked the motivation. But I just want to get this video out of the way so I can finally put this to rest. These 9 group of figures are from a series called Recreators. It's an anime series that I enjoyed a lot. It's very underrated because it's a show that a lot of people didn't really talk about. And I feel like the only way for you to enjoy this anime is if you watch other genre of anime before this. And because to make this complicated series short, to explain it, it's pretty much fictional characters arrive to the real world, and these fictional characters are pretty much like on the good or bad side, bad guy team, and you get to see they're from different genres, and you have like an action shonen type, you have like fantasy, you have like a mystery thriller, you have like murder mystery genre, or like kids show, and all these characters from these different genres pretty much clash. And I think it's a really cool idea. There's a lot of great writing in it, in my opinion, how it's like how each different story genre, how do they connect, how do they resonate with people, how do they play off of one another, which I think is like very creative. Granted, this show is a lot of talking and not much of an action, so for some people they might not enjoy this show because it's not as engaging, which I can understand. I think there's like a lot of things in the show that I feel like people miss, in my opinion. But yeah, it's a very underrated series. You can really watch it on Amazon Prime, or unless you pirate it, of course. Don't do that. Actually, nah, I don't care what you do. So yeah, and we'll take a look at each figures. I'll just briefly talk about what I did and all, and what I think about the characters and stuff, like very briefly. And these are like really old figures, so bear with me here because some of them may not hold up to the standard that I would normally make figures nowadays. I don't even remember when was the last time I actually finished this figure. I believe I started on these figures in 2017 when I was like around my junior year at RIT. So yeah, my RIT years. That's how old these things are. 2017. Damn, that's like 4 years ago since I actually finished. I believe I finished this figure during that time. So if you guys have been following me back then on Instagram, you notice I've done like a lot of concept arts for these guys because that's the first time I actually did minifigure concept arts because I want to try to do do these things like if I draw something and I try to replicate that drawing, and I still kind of do it that nowadays only for characters that I know that have like so much detail, and I kind of want to plan it out ahead of time. I mean, that's what I did for pretty much all my Genshin figures so far, because they have a lot of detail and I want to quickly sketch them out. So yeah, and this character Alyceria, I'm literally looking at a Wikipedia right now just to make sure I remember who they are because I forgot about the series. She represents your typical shonen battle anime, the strong female protagonist who's the main character, and she has like the generic archetype and the body type that weaves and degenerates will love because she has like boobies and slim waist and stuff. So yeah, she represents that type of anime character, like your Sword Art Online and stuff like that. So she's that parody. So yeah, starting from the hair, I believe this is like a this is like this like long droopy hair piece like you see in like Lord of the Rings. I think it's like Gandalf's hair. But what I did, I completely sculpted the back of it. This is not how I would normally sculpt hair nowadays. The way I sculpt hair is so much it's like so much better, and they're actually completely sculpted from scratch. Let me bring out the recent one that I did. That's my favorite. Like Lisa from Genshin Impact. You can see like the hair. It's just so much better. Try and make it Lego-like, but still anime-ish as close as possible. So yeah, I'm not gonna. If I want to sculpt hair, I'm gonna sculpt hair from scratch from now on because I just feel like sculpting on top of Widow's hair piece kind of limits a lot of the shape, in my opinion. So yeah, and I painted anime's eyes on this because back then I thought painting anime eyes would be fine. It'll be okay. But then I kind of stopped doing that, and I would only do it for certain anime figures like Pokemon, for instance. So yeah, uh, the jacket. I believe that was like a Cape Madness, and I sculpted like the part of the sleeve. I used E-tape for like this for her waist cape here, and I sculpted this little sword scabbard, and I used Cape Madness for like the red part of the waist. So yeah, and then for the glove tops, that's actually from like a minifigure head, black head, and then the sword is actually 3D printed. I from RIT. So yeah, but and if I remove like our waist real quick, like you can see like I complete yeah, you can see like the K-mass stuff and then the tape skirt like all together, and then I painted the legs, and that's pretty much it for Silesia. Yeah, I don't know if this figure really holds up to the rest of the figures I've made. Like, there's not a lot of black outlines in this, and but overall, I mean, it works well. It's probably not going to be a figure I'm ever going to look back and admire, in my opinion. But so yeah, that's it. Up next, we have Meteora. So yeah, what I did, I used like a bowl cut hairpiece, and I sculpted on the little sides and all. Her character, she's a parody of like an NPC in a fantasy world RPG. So she's like the librarian, and you go up to her and you ask questions and stuff like that. So she's not really the main character. I think she's really just a background character, which I thought was really interesting. There was a good scene of her, like she didn't get to meet her creator because her creator passed away, but she was able to play the game that he created, and it was actually a really touching scene. I actually kind of like that. So yeah, and for her cape, I used like a cape as like over coat cape, I believe, and then I sculpted like these little like thingies on top, and I glued like a cape as fluid on the back. This kind of just drapes over. I use E-tape for like the belt. I use E-tape for this like dark blue section that goes down in the center. I use it for gloves as well. Um, and her like skirt, I actually made that with using a cape that is like over skirt piece, and I glued cotton ball all around it. And for her book, this is actually really interesting. I believe that I glued like a little tiny magnet and a metal wire because this thing is magnetically attached. And so I don't know why I thought that would be a good idea. Well, not that it's a bad idea. I don't know why I put that much effort into it, to be honest. And you have like little pages in here to kind of make it look like it's a book. So yeah, that's cool. And yeah, and I also have like a Lego bar piece here because I need to hold it, of course. Also, I also 3D printed these like rocket launchers because there's a scene in the beginning where she summons like rocket launchers through a spell shield. I actually made like 6 of these in total, but I only managed to salvage 4 because they broke. She used to have like a giant spell shield like this behind. I would have this behind her, but I don't know where that is, and I have a feeling it's broken as well. So, oof, not good. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Meteora. Pretty simple figure, and yeah. Next figure we have is Rui, and he's the parody of your main protagonist in a mecha anime. So think of like Evangelion, think of Darling in the Franxx, think of any mecha anime you have in the top of your head. He pretty much is that stereotype. So yeah, to go over like this hair was like I believe it's like uh, it's like the Lloyd's hair piece before the Lego Ninjago movie. If you guys know what I'm talking about, yeah. Or no, or I think it's the Cole hair piece. The Cole hair piece, like the before the Lego Ninjago movie. And I just spoke to like strands and stuff. I painted his head, and yeah, this was actually one of my favorite paint job back then. When I was making this figure because he had like a lot of line work and detail. Some of them were kind of scratched off because like it's an old figure, so the paint just doesn't really stay well. So yeah, and so I used to give him a base where you can have like holographic like projectors around him, but that broke too. So I don't know, and I don't want to display that. So instead, but I did in fact kept these like pieces because of how he controls them. Like it's like a holographic like panel, and so I printed out like a sticker sheet of this decal. You can't really see the decal that well. You can kind of see the orange though. And I glued them onto these new like they introduced them with Doctor Strange, like these pieces like for his spells and stuff. Like So yeah, I decided to use that, and yeah, and that's pretty much it I have to say with for this character. It's just mostly painted and all. Oh yeah, and the little thing on his chest, like that thing is sculpted. It's a very tiny detail, and that's pretty much it. Next figure we have is a character named Yuya. He's a main antagonist in I believe it's like in a manga, and I believe it's also like a manga that's adapted to a video game or something like that in the show. So yeah, he's the main villain in that, but he actually is in the side of the hero group, which is interesting. It's an interesting twist, and so yeah, he's kind of like your stereotypical like gangster like boss and stuff like that. And so yeah, and the way his character kind of acts in a way, and his one of his like power is like it reminds you of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure because he has this other ability which I didn't want to make in Lego. He can pretty much summon a stand. So yeah, that's pretty much JoJo. So yeah, hair is a Luke Skywalker hairpiece with the rest of the hair like sculpted and all. I sculpted like his keychain and his necklace. I sculpted like the belt buckle, and I used E-tape for the straps. And his coat here is actually also made out of E-tape. And I just painted a katana, and that's pretty much it for this guy. Very very simple. I like his attitude in the show because even though he's like the antagonist, he's not really an evil guy. He's just a gangster who just likes to have fun. That's pretty much his character. So he's not the most evil person in the world, which is why it makes sense that he's part of the hero group. So yeah, and there's other things, but I'm not gonna spoil it in case anyone's curious. So yeah, that's all I have to say for Yuya. Next figure we have is Alyceria. Now, this figure actually took me a really long time to make because this was during the time when I actually took my first break from this project, and it's mainly because of her weapon. But I'll get to that later. So, Alyceria, she is your generic. If you guys know Fate Saber from the Fate series, she is your stereotypical knight character in the fantasy genre, and she's the main hero of the light novel and the anime franchise in that universe so. But the reason why she joined the villain side, is because she wants to hunt down her creator, the creator of her franchise, because she does not like the fact that he wrote her character, he wrote her world to be a living hell, where her friends and family die and stuff. So yeah, it makes sense that why she would turn against her creator. So yeah, her hair was very difficult. I remember having so much trouble sculpting this thing. It took me numerous tries, but I finally got this. So I think this is like the ponytail hairpiece. Yeah, you can kind of see that in the back here. So yeah, and it's quite heavy. It's quite hefty, to be honest. It's a lot of procreating. So anyway, and her armor sculpted, and the only thing that's like fabric, is like it's like obviously her skirt. Everything else I pretty much sculpted. I sculpted like the sides of the armor. I sculpted side armor. I sculpted her chest. I sculpted like this dragon gauntlet that she has, and this giant lance is 3D printed. And I don't know why it took me that long to finally to get this thing 3D printed, but I finally did, and I was able to move on to other things. And her cape is also from Cape Annis too. So yeah, ooh, well, so yeah, that's pretty much it for Alyceria. Had to drink a little water there. My throat's getting dry. Oh yeah, and I just told her knee pads. That's it. That's pretty much it for her. Next character we have is Mamaki. Mamaki is your typical magical girl in anime, and she's a character from a kid show. But she actually joined the villain side. But the reason why, it's not because like she's evil or anything. It's because she was manipulated. Because she's from a kid show. She's easily gullible. You can tell her anything and she will believe you. So she was really manipulated into the cause, which I thought was really funny. And plus, because in her world she doesn't understand the concept of violence or death, because those don't happen in her universe. When she destroys things with a powerful laser beam, buildings don't get destroyed in her universe because it's a kid show. It's supposed to be like PG and all. But when she uses her power in the real world, she accidentally kills people and she gets traumatized by it. I thought that's really interesting. So yeah, this character is pretty much just a lot of sculpting. that's pretty much it. Sculpted hair, sculpted torso. The only thing E-tape maybe is like probably like the strap around her belt. Um, Her skirt all sculpted as well. And what I did, I actually shortened her torso. This was way before the new Harry Potter Lex came out. Um, that's how I was able to, make minifigures a little bit shorter. Like, it might be hard to tell because her hair is so freaking huge. But you can kind of see her neck is a little bit lower than other characters, and that's how it worked. So yeah, and I remember I got this random heart piece from somewhere. I don't know which set was. I think it was like a probably like a freebie Lego piece I got or something. But I used that to make her wand. So yeah, that's pretty much what I did to make this character. And I believe this bottom part sculpted. This is way before like umbrella pieces were a thing, so I can just use that. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for Mamaki. Your cute, magical girl. And if you guys are into that genre, I'm not really into it. Next character we have is Blitztalker. He is from he's pretty much like your typical cyberpunk character. He's from anime and manga, so think of like, I guess Ghost in the Shell would be a good one. If you want to count Cowboy Bebop as well. Anything cyberpunk, and he's pretty much the detective. He's actually a secondary character in that world. So yeah, but he's a hero. But the reason why he joined with the villain of the series is because his creator killed his daughter. So of course that or something like that, something wrong along those lines. His daughter was in danger, or something like that. So obviously he would want to side with the villains to destroy his creator because he wants to save his daughter. So yeah, so it makes sense. So I remember when I first made this and posted it, people were like, "Oh, is that Jim Gordon?" Which yeah, he kind of looks like him. So yeah. So I used like a new Superman hairpiece, and for his glasses, that's actually I used plastic, and I cut him into my glasses shape, and I glued him onto his head, so it kind of has that 3D pop. I remember having so much trouble trying to make this set. This is actually my second version. So his tie, his trench coat, all fabric. Only thing that's really sculpted is the belt buckle, which is like dry sculpted up front. And I also like sculpted his little watch that he has. It's a watch that makes him fly, and it looks kind of stupid to be honest. So yeah, and he just has a standard brick on his pistol. Oh yeah, and I also sculpted like his shoulder pads. But that's pretty much it for this character. He's very simple. So our second to last figure, we have Makane. She is like an antagonist from a light novel and an anime series, and she's supposed to be your typical like antagonist in like a mystery, murder, or horror genres. So how this character works, to be honest, I don't even fucking know. Like her powers is kind of confusing. So it's pretty much she will tell a lie, and if you don't give into that lie, it becomes truth. Like I have no idea. But so it's like let's say for example she goes up to you and she was like, "Hey, would it be funny if I just kill you just by staring at you?" If you say, "Oh yeah, right, that's not gonna happen," it will happen. It's just so strange. So the only way to defeat this character is just accept any bullshit she says. That's really how you can stop this character. So if you don't know how this character works, it's just weird. But yeah, she's really simple. I used a Widow's Peak hairpiece. I sculpted the braid. Used caveman's waist cape. Sculpted like the collar and the thread here, which I actually like. I actually really like how that turned out. You can't really see from here, but if you look up close, what I did, I twisted like a thin piece of Procreate and I used those for threads because it has those nice like threaded pattern. So yeah, and you can see like the key mask is kind of fraying off in the corner. You probably won't see it here, but there's like it's starting to fray a bit because this figure is relatively pretty old. So yeah, that's it for Magnet. Really simple figure. Everyone, to be honest. Last but not least, finally, thank goodness, it's Altair, the main antagonist of this entire series, the one she brought in the creations together to try to unite them to turn against their creators. Of course, some didn't, and that's how this entire show started. Yeah, she was a very interesting character. She's really the best character design in my opinion because she's really interesting. Like the way that I have this set up here, she has this like this sword and this machine gun, and the way she's holding it, it looks like she's playing it as a violin because she legit plays this as a violin. That's what gives her power. It's so weird. Like I'm not gonna say much about her, like about her character and why she's stupid OP. They kind of mention it, and it's kind of a spoiler, so in case you guys are curious. So yeah, what I did to make this hair, it's a Frankenstein hairpiece I heavily sanded, and I sculpted in all these details. So I have to sculpt in like this little monster detail that's, or I think it's a lion that she has in here. And this was like the last figure I had to make. But I put it off for such a long time. And I think I finally finished this character around like 2019, so that's really, really crazy. So I'm removing these out of the way. The other things I sculpted were gauntlets. I sculpted the belt buckle here. And I sculpted like her shoulders. I don't know what those are called. And the rest I pretty much use like E-tape and like a caveman, it's like waist tape. That's pretty much it for Altair. Like she's just a stupid OP villain. And you do get her motivation when you watch the show. So yeah, but that's pretty much it. She's very complicated because of the hair, and it just took me a long time to finally finish this. So yeah, that's it. A 2-year project and a 2-year delay on the video. Wow, go me. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I know this is not going to get a lot of views, but I don't really care. I just want to get this out of the way now that I finally can move on from this. I can bury these in storage and never look at them ever again. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.